Hey y'all, so this video I'm doing again, hopefully I get it right this time in proportion. So this video is about ICC profiles and color management. If you saw my video where I was doing Ruby, RWBY, I did that when I said that I soft-proof my program so that I can see what my thing will come out looking like. These are samples that I did because when I get my ink and when I change up like my materials, I do testing. Test. So this right here is me printing with InkXPro ink, no ICC profile, and I messed up on it when I did it. So this is why I know that this is this one, and I didn't remember to mirror it, but you can see the colors. And this is a Dollar Tree rag, pretty much. It's 100% polyester. Now, this here, turn it upside down, is the same color chart with me using the IC profile that came with my ink. And difference, let's look at colors, namely like the yellows. Now, while it may be upside down and it be a little bit hard to stay with, you can see the difference between the yellows, between me using a profile and me not using a profile. Sometimes there's benefits to using a profile. I should say not using a particular profile. If I use, like, when I say I'm not using a profile, that doesn't mean that I use the Adobe RGB or the SRGB that came with my printer. I have an Epson 7710. More than likely, if you have something like Cosmos ink, you probably do have an ICC profile, and it's your choice. Or, you know what? I'm not sure about Cosmos ink because I remember him at one point saying that you could use Adobe RGB, but then I think he gave people ICC profiles. They're expensive to make, but you can see by the way of the colors, like, look at the greens. This is a deep forest green as opposed to these, like, big difference. Hold this again. The way my greens come out, being more vibrant, more richer, even my blues. You can see my blues. So this is to show that test. Get you some Dollar Tree rags that's 100% polyester for sublimation. Go to Joann's, which is what these are. Go to Joann's and get you, this is 100% polyester, and I also have 50-50 blend. And I test stuff based off of like, what am I going to print on. Now, for those who are new to sublimation, and I'm doing this a little bit different than the last time. I think I was more organized in the beginning, but since it's like 2 in the morning and I'm redoing this, I'm doing it. Hopefully it's fine. So these are printed. These when you print with sublimation ink, you know that the print comes off dull. These are just ink left over on my paper, and this paper is the Honestly Speaking paper. So as you can see, it didn't bleed through really. And I have ASub paper, I use copy paper, and I use Honestly Speaking paper. Now I'm using Honestly Speaking paper, but I do have all of them, and it depends on what my project is. Because with Honestly Speaking paper, I can print for a lower temperature, maybe a little bit longer time. With my ASub, I print 400 for 60 seconds. So keep in mind these images, and I'll bring them back. And these are 2 things that I was going to print. This is what it looks like. I haven't heated it yet, where it looks dull, yes, but when I sub it, it'll be more vibrant. Now we'll put these 2 out of the way. Now, when I got, honestly speaking, I have her pigment ink as well as her sublimation ink. With her sublimation ink, I have problems because she doesn't have an ICC profile with my Adobe RGB, as well as I have a Mac, she has a Windows, and my colors do not line up. This was supposed to be like a yellow koi fish, and I just printed this off of Google. I did it for $3.75 for maybe 75 or 95 seconds because I was testing it, and it could be that these came out more gold. It was supposed to be more yellow, so it has more orange in it. It's beautiful, yes. The colors are clear, yes. But for what I wanted and the stickers that I was making, I was trying to get yellow, and I could not get yellow to work. And I do sublimate stickers. Like I get vinyl, and I will I use, what is it called? Laminating sheets and laminating tape on top of vinyl, and I make my stickers that way, or I just sub directly onto the vinyl. Let's go on. So this picture is pretty, yes, but it's blurry. This I did at 365 at 50 seconds. And this image here, this is the ink that's left over. As you can see, it did pick up the, the ink that was in the face, and the colors are vibrant. It's just, I think it might be a little bit overbaked because I was playing with temperatures and times. This was printed with plain paper, not premium matte, and I used I might have used Adobe RGB, and this is what it came out looking like. And you see that it looks more pink where I wanted it to be red. Couldn't figure out. Still, I just kind of gave up, but these are my tests. And for the purpose of showing like what my tests are, I'm just giving you an overview. So this is me printing on plain paper setting using Honestly Speaking paper, and I use her ink with the Textprint ICC profile. And this one, I printed it regular with Adobe RGB, and I just sub it on the rags. I'm just gonna call them the rags because they're still 100% polyester. And as you can see, let me see if I can get this light. The purples and the pinks and the blues, big difference for me using a profile versus me using Adobe RGB or SRGB. I had to wipe my eyes because they are watering. Now, this particular one, I sublimated it 375 for 45 seconds, and the image is this one. And as you can see, it came out vibrant. The colors are deep. It shows the orange and the yellow. When I have a darker color, orange, you can see the yellow and it pops, right? The ink left over on this sheet, I could use this on 100% polyester, which is what I would use this one for. But I think with this one, I just pretty much subbed it straight. Now, let's look at this one. Before we go into this color face, the faces charts, we'll look at this one. And I think this one is this one. And as you can see, the colors are vibrant. I subbed this at 375 or 45 seconds. I didn't necessarily play with my pressure. It's more so just time and temperature that I'm deciding which. When I tested her ink, because hers is 365 for, she can sub as low as like 30 seconds, but she has a Hotronix. I don't have a Hotronix, but I do have a heat press, and I do have easy presses. I have the 1, the 2, and the mini. So yours may vary. Yours may not come out looking exactly like mine if you print it, but that's why this video is showing you that you want to go and test your inks, test your times, test your temperatures. And yes, it can be costly to buy like 100% linen, or 100% polyester, I should say, and 100% um well, these sheets, they're cheaper, yes, but they are still rags. Whereas this one is more flat. It'll save you in the long run doing these tests than you just going and get your easy subli and put it on a shirt, and then you're like, why your colors is off. Like, save yourself some time by testing on what you're going to sublimate on. If you don't use easy subli and you're doing it on regular shirts, like if it's 100% polyester and it doesn't have a color to it, because if it did have a color to it, like say a light gray, your colors are not going to come out looking as clear as they would if you was using white polyester. So in this one, for reference, I printed off the sheet the first time with the settings that came from my printer, which is Adobe, and then I flipped it, put it back in the tray, and I printed it off with my ICC profile. Now, here's where things get tricky, and the reason why I bought this. When you look at the skin tones, look at her skin here. Let me zoom in and look at her skin here. You can see the difference that it'll look more. I can't pick up certain colors inside of it. Like, look here where you see the purple in the headband. You see it on her, the butterflies and stuff. You don't see them here because it's too dark. I won't be able to I can't replicate the same thing. And it's not a heat thing or time. It's pretty much just the ICC profile. If you look at her face and her face here, it's like it kind of depends on the shades, how much ink is being put down on the sheets, but it's more so your preference. Even when you look at these, you see how she has more pink tone, hers is more orange, or she has like a little bit more red. When I took image off, these are all images off of Google, and you can see like how she looks as opposed to how she looks. And can I put a camera on? I can't. Can't put, I'm sorry, not camera, but the light on. So hopefully you can see this fine. But yes, like I said, you can see if someone had vitiligo or like blemishes, that they had rashes or anything, how much ink gets put down and how it sublimates, and if it has any definition in their face. So I still revert back to these two because obviously from this picture you can see that there's butterflies inside of her image and even here, but it doesn't pick it up in this one for Adobe RGB. And I choose not to print with Adobe RGB. I'd rather use ICC Profile with my ink. Overall, I should say I did end up going and switching my ink back because I use cartridges. I switched my ink back to my InkXPro because I had a job to do and I didn't have time. The colors was not working out for me, and I'll have to do more testing. So in this one, this is plain paper setting still. This is Epson RGB, and this is Textprint. And if you look at the two, you can see the difference in whether or not you was using, if the black is black, if the yellows are showing. And it's weird because you think, like, when I look at skin tones, I'll see me having to use my ICC profile, but with certain colors, if it's close to the Epson RGB, the Epson's colors, because on my Mac, I have like SRGB, RGB, I have the Adobe RGB, the 2.1, the 1.9, or 1988. I have a bunch of profiles, and they didn't necessarily come from me downloading them, though I have downloaded other profiles just to do tests. And these were using her paper. So not only were I trying to get colors, I was going to get times, I was trying to get temperatures, and I'm testing it, me printing everything instead of me using Premium Presentation Matte, me using the plain paper setting. So as you can see, like, it's all white here, how light it goes, and the gradient that goes all the way down versus how light it is up here, and then the gradient that goes all the way down. I focused on the center where the yellow is, and it could be that my temperature was different when I did these because I might not have done them at the same time, but just so you know, I'm letting you know, I'm just showing. So here we have another set of skin tones, and in this one I did Textprint as well as Adobe again, and I use a gradient of skin tones, where you can see with the Adobe, it came out where it had more tones of brown, but it didn't get pure black. It did get pure black when I used my ICC profile. And when you look at their skin tones, this depends on what type of look you're going for. You can see the difference in their faces. And hopefully this is picking up the colors, because I can't put my other light on because my eyes are watering so bad. I'm having a hard time seeing. But you can see between their faces, the color gradients, like even the blocks, how they look between Adobe and Textprint. And just for reference, the Textprint is just the ICC profile that came with my InkXPro ink. Yours might not say Textprint. Yours might say, you know, Cosmos Ink ICC profile, or, you know, any other brand. If they're worth their salt, which I've read, they'll give you some sort of ICC profile, because everybody's monitors and stuff is not the same. And for reference, let me say this: if you're somebody who, you might have retina display on something, retina display not be on something else, you're trying to match up your colors and they're coming off weird, that's where those color charts are going to help you. Because if you have a hex code in the color chart, you can have that on your computer, and when you're looking at it visually, you can pull out your project or whatever you sublimated on, which will tell you what the next project, whatever project you're going to do, is going to look like. And then you can say, oh, I want that color, this is the hex code. Or if it doesn't have a hex code, it's in your program, sample it and get the hex code, and then work from there. You can save yourself trouble. So yeah, this one is like, I want to say it's like, where did it go? I printed it on the linen, and I think that one was a second print, because this one, when you look at it, I look at the gradient from yellow to purples and the gradient from yellow to purples. So this one I think I might have done first, because the colors, it seems a little bit like they might be deeper. When I look at these gradients here, more orange here, more pink here, but you can see the brown shades. You can't really tell the brown shades here. They look more like orange. Well, it's more so if your skin tone is, or your tones are more yellow, or if you have more red, you would choose accordingly. If you need your skin to look more deeper, like even if you look at these, it's hard to tell the definition in this because it's on the rag, yes, but you can tell overall tone colors from these two, these two, these two, these two, and you can look at the faces. I just printed a whole thing with all different types of faces and different colors of tones, ranging from light or lightest to deep, and you can see the difference here. Look at her with the blonde hair. You could look at here how it looks, and like I said, it's pretty much your preference, because without me doing this, when I printed stuff and I sublimated, I was mad that a lot of like my paintings that I would do maybe on canvas, they wouldn't come out right. Here it is, the second print, and you can see that it's lighter, yes, but you can still see the difference with how much ink was left on the paper from when I actually did my second print. And this is still the Textprint versus the Adobe. And as last piece, this is, I think, a sheet of paper, or it's a piece of vinyl, and then I put it inside of my laminator. So this is a laminator pouch, and it's sealed all the way around. And I will make sticker sheets. I'll take sticker sheets and run it through my laminator with the pouch, or I'll take vinyl. I just get Oracle, cut it down, and then I put it within like an 8.5 by 11, and I stick it inside of a pouch, run it through my laminator. I will sublimate on it, cut it out, have a sticker. I have like the roll, which is thinner. I'll take the roll and I will put it a piece on top of my vinyl, heat that, and I would probably use like parchment paper underneath so it doesn't stick. But if I use butcher paper, it doesn't really matter because I just cut it off, and then I sublimate on top of that, cut that out, have a sticker. Yes. So with this one, as I was saying, when I put the sheet back into the the printer, I didn't flip it right. So Textprint is going this way, Adobe is going that way. And you can see closer what the tones of their face look like. And let me go a little more. And you can see here, same basic tones, Textprint looking going down, Adobe going up from here to here, and these are just skin tones that I might pull off of. This is from Appropriate skin tones chart. These are just faces that I found on Google, and I just printed them off and was testing it with my profile. And here, same thing. They're on top of each other, but I can see the difference because it would be from here to here, and you can see I can see the colors in between, how much different they are. So yes, the main takeaway from this video, I'm hoping, is that you will try doing tests on your with your ICC profile. Now, if you're somebody who has an Epson or I don't know any printer, they have settings that go to the printer. Some printers, they have like vivid, they have like brighter, they have like black and white. They have those settings that you can play with, and you can test that out and sublimate it and see how that works for you as well if you don't have access to an ICC profile. But like I said, you can tell the difference. Not just for me with me doing tests, like 375 for 45 seconds. I did this one, I did this one. The colors came out vibrant. It's a little bit blurry. I can see some blurriness, but to the untrained eye, it looks perfectly fine. And this one, this is the second print, I believe. It might be the second print. You can see that it's pulled the ink. I didn't necessarily burn it because I don't have any burn marks on this. You can see where I cut. So excuse that. But this was 365 for 50 seconds. So it was like, okay, if I do this for 50 seconds, I might need more time. Not necessarily more temperature, because I was trying it out with 365 for 50 seconds originally, and then I went forward, and then I went backwards, and then I went forward again. So based off of your heat press or your easy press is what you want to base your sublimation on. And like I said, while I do have her pigment ink, I have her sublimation ink, and I have every stack of her paper. I recommend the paper. Hands down, I recommend it because some people don't use cover sheets and they sublimate. I do have a Teflon sheet on my top latin. I have cardstock, heavy cardstock on the bottom, and then when I sublimate, I put my material down, and then I put the sublimation sheet on top. Then I'll put a like piece of butcher paper or something. And even if I don't necessarily bleed through the back, because it doesn't really bleed through the back, I still just, for my sake, I don't want any blowout on my heat press. So that's why I'm saying do your test. And as for these, like I said, this is InkXPro ink, which it's hard to tell how it will look, but it will be just as vibrant probably as one of these ones like this. And normally I would print this, it would look like this probably. Normally I print this on, before I got the paper, I would print it on InkXPro, Premium Presentation Matte, 400 degrees for 60 seconds. And I do all of my stuff in bulk, so it would be really hot. Really, really hot. With me getting her paper and me having to just set it to like 365, as hot as it gets in there with me heating, I don't have to worry about, it's not as bad as for me because I have asthma and it affects me. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully I didn't ramble too much. And if you have any questions, leave them down below. And later, y'all.